So by now you should have created your 3 subclasses here and have your pizza order or whatever you're buying. Again, you could have bicycles, you could have sewing patterns, anything you wanted inside of there. And then you have some subclasses inside of there. Remembering that the difference in the subclasses, they have a different behavior that's going on. Remember, our total for the price was based off of the type of veggies you bought, or the type of fish you got for your anchovies, or the number of pepperonis that you got inside of there. So there's a little bit difference. Now notice there's a lot of similarity between a couple of these, the veggies and the pepperonis, but that's it's not super important, but just note that if they're all just some number times some number plus that, then that could be a single object as well. This could just be the cost per ingredient. And so the cost per ingredient of a vegetable is 75 cents, but we put more pepperonis on there or something like that. So okay, just to be clear. Now what we want to do is take our pizza order and integrate it into our project here. And so there's a couple different things we can do along that. So let's just say we're going to have a decision somewhere along here. And so I can say, and I'm going to code this a little bit different than what you've seen there. I can say string pizza choice is equal to get string input, control space, pops that all out, and I put a quote inside of here. What type of pizza do you want? Question mark. And you can get a pep, just to make it short, anch, or veg. That's what you'd be typing in. Again, you could be much more flexible in that. You can have much different options. It just adds more logic. You just have more items to compare to whether it is. But I'm going to check these 4 right there that you can type in. And so there's a number of ways I can do this. I could do an if then else structure. I'm going to choose to do a switch structure inside of here. Now the downside of the switch structure is I can't use equal ignore case, so people have to type it in perfectly. But the nice advantage is it makes it real simple as far as this goes, because I can just make a switch on the pizza choice. That CHOICE that somebody just picked. And there's our switch choice there. So I have a case where they say pep. And just out of reference, I can also say, if I want to be super nice to my users, I can say case, pep. And I could add as many of these as I want to. So I could say PEP. I could just also do, if I want to, case P, which would really simplify my testing because I only have to type the one thing in. All right, so what do I want to do here? Well, I'm going to do // This is a comment. So I'm going to say go get pepperoni details. All right, and then we do a break. And so we're going to do the work for pepperoni details. And then I can put my next case inside of here, and I'm going to simplify this and just say A, case A. Notice I have to put it in quotes here. It has to make it a string literal inside of here. And this will be my anchovy case. Go get anchovy details, however you spell that. And then break that one again. And then I'll do one more case, and we'll just say V. And that'll be go get veggie details. And break there. And I'm using shift. You can use a tab to move something over. Shift tab, move it back. That's what my my keystrokes are doing right there to make this happen. So this is the logical choice that you're going to be asked to do. So you have some sort of what type of product do you want to go buy, and then you're going to have some sort of details of, okay, based off of that, what I want to ask. So in the pepperoni details, I'm going to be, which is asking the number of peps. And the anchovies is asking type of fish. And then the veggie details is asking number of veggies, which could be asking, okay, I want broccoli and mushrooms and I don't know what other veggies are out there, but all the different things that you put on pizza. I don't think broccoli goes in pizza all that much, but onions and peppers and olives and all those sorts of things you normally put on there. Okay, so that's the type of logic we'd be doing here. Now, notice here, I'm giving a structure for a decision. What type of pizza do you want? I'm giving a structure A, B, or C. I'm picking those things. And then I'm abstracting out the details of what do I go do to make that happen, which is a good first step here because it helps me organize my thoughts. From a design standpoint, it really helps me say, okay, well, this is the big picture of what I'm trying to do, and the next step is going to be going off and doing that. But since I've started with this, I might as well run with this because this is where abstractions, this is where methods come in to help me do my work. So just like we had defined a few weeks ago, the get string input, and then refine that to the get integer input inside of that choice, then we can also create whatever methods we want to. And so I'm going to create a method, and I'm going to do the anchovy one. So that's going to be something that's going to be a little bit unique inside of there. So the anchovy one is going to be get so let's say prompt for anchovy pizza. So that's a lot of details inside of there. And we need to go off and figure out those details based off of the based off of our choices that we made before and how we designed that. So you will have your own choice. In my case, I know I have to go off and ask what the region the fish came from. And so I'm going to have a text answer. You might have to get a number. You might have to get a Boolean. You might have to get a series of inputs that you're going to go get through. You might have several things you're asking for. Here, I'd be getting just straight one integer. Over here, I'd also be getting an integer, the number of veggie types that's going to be getting there. But I might determine that veggie types based off of maybe checkboxes. I checkbox all the different types of veggies I want to have coming in, and then I deal with that from there. So for this, I'm going to create this method. Now notice I typed the method name in that I'm about to, and it gives me a compiler error. And I did that on purpose to show you one of the features Eclipse will give you, which is to fix this, I can actually create this method. Now, unless you intend to create a method, you don't want to click this button. Unless you said to yourself, I want to create a method to do this thing, then it doesn't make sense to click this button because it'll create methods that you might be trying to call. So sometimes people will click this button when I'm trying to call print line. And instead of actually being able to call the existing print line, you create a new method that then you have to figure out how to call print line. And that's not a good thing. But in my case, I do want to click this because I want to create this method to prompt for anchovy stuff. And so what do I want to do for prompting for anchovy stuff? Well, in this case, I want to say string fish region is equal to get string input. I'm going to reuse that again. What type of fish? And then you can say European. What was the kinds I said before here? I think I put it inside of here. Oh, yeah, Europe, Asia, or Americas. Let's just say Europe, Asia, Americas. All right, and that's the question I want to ask for this. And then I would be doing, so I want this parenthesis, this quote, another parenthesis, and then a semicolon. So these parentheses is for inside the text for the formatting. This parenthesis is for the parameter for this method. So get string input, and then this string lives inside of those parentheses. So I'm making sure I have my ordering right inside of my code. So the fish region then is going to be one of those three. So if the fish region, so the validation inside of here. So actually, I probably want to do a while statement around here. So while this is true, I want to keep asking this over and over again. And I don't care about the ask it just 3 times. If you don't give me the right region, I'm not going to let you order your pizza. You're going to keep doing it forever and ever and ever. So so while true, if fish region is equal to, nope, not equals to, Europe or fish. Oh, you know what? And I got to be careful here because it could be null. If fish region is equal to null, we'll do a continue on this, which means skip the rest of the code and keep going. That's if you remember this. And this is just one way of solving this problem. Fish region dot equals Asia, and it has to be perfect inside of here. So if either one of these is true, then what do I want to do? Well, I want to put that inside of here as a value. Oops, I forgot. Or fish region dot equals Americas. There you go. If I any one of those three items, then what do I want to do? Well, I can create a anchovy pizza, right? AP, we'll call it, is equal to new anchovy pizza. That's how I create a new instance of the object. So I'm going to create a pointer to that object. I'm going to create a variable that keeps track of the anchovy pizza. Then I'm going to create a new instance of this guy out in memory. And then AP dot, I'm going to call the method to set the, notice all the methods here. So I can set the cheese type, set the name, set the region, set the returning, all these things. So I'm going to say the region of fish is going to be the fish region, the variable I just created. And then, well, what do I do with it? Well, I want to give it back to the guy who called me. I prompted, I'm going to fill up my anchovy pizza, I'm going to give it back. So what I forgot here is I need to be able to return something. And so what do I want to return when I prompt for an anchovy pizza? Well, I want to return an instance of an anchovy pizza. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste this right here. I'm going to return that anchovy pizza as the last step. Return AP. All right, so I have a little helper method right here, which creates my anchovy pizza, asks me the questions for all the pieces, and then returns it. And so right here, when I say prompt for anchovy pizza, I can keep my pizza here. And you know, I don't know what kind of pizza I'm going to get, so I have a pizza order here. So really what I have is an order is equal to. And we'll come back to this in a second. So let me just go ahead and test this and run this real quick. So I'm going to run my code. All right, so here it comes up. Great day to order pizza. Oops, I'm going to enter my name. Sorry, let me drag this over. This is Tony. And am I a returning customer? No. What type of pizza do I want? So let's say A and C. Nope, A is what I did there. Because remember, the case A right behind here. Right here's case A. I have to put A right inside there. And then it asks me, it calls my method inside there. What types of fish do I want? Asia is the type of fish I want. And then it gives me the final method inside of here for what's going on. So there I was able to call my method. All right, so this solves one of my three. I'm not going to do more than one. This is going to show you the pattern. But it doesn't get to everything I want to, because when I got my order, all I did was fill in the details for the pizza choice. I need to also come back to that order and fill in the rest of the stuff. So I need to do set name right here is going to be customer name that we got up here. So remember, we asked for the customer name up here. I need to set that down here. Order.set returning right here, and we asked, are you a returning customer? So what we can say is customer return. So say yes dot equals. So if the customer return value is equal to yes, oops, sorry, I need one more parenthesis there. So if the customer value return value, what they typed in is yes, like what they said there, then this will be true. Anything else they typed in, then this will be false, that they're not a returning customer. All right, and that gets me the rest of my piece where I say my order's name and everything else. And the last bit I can say is thank you for ordering your pizza R Us. Your total is, and then I can ask out here, plus order dot, oops, I forgot to add the total method to my pizza order. Can't forget that. So I'm going to run out of time here, so we'll have to come back and finish this. Oh no, there's a total method there. I apologize. There's a total method. I'm going to run out of time. So we'll come back and finish this in a second with one final bit.